listened to it today yet. She left
Yeah,
me a
yeah.
voice message.
She's here in Costa Rica. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, yeah. We had a good a beautiful just rejoicing that we both, of course, know you, and yeah, it's powerful. And of course, Renee, we've been diving in on some things.
Oops. I accidentally muted your video. Go back on.
Okay.
Go back on video. Gallery view is what I wanted. Unmute your video. I accidentally muted your video. Trying to hit gallery view.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Cool.
All right, let's do it. Here, record. All right, guys, getting ready to. On Facebook, it says live with Daniel Ramone. Getting ready to talk about universal abundance and main character modalities. I went on your tag and saw your thing too, so
yeah,
we're going to talk about that also. All right, we are recording. Second. All right. Bam. Record on this computer. 1 sec. Making sure the recording is good. Okay, good to go. All right, hello everybody. Facebook world, YouTube world, anywhere where you are on the planet. Excited to do this live conversation today with an awesome human being who is currently in Costa Rica, and one of the places on the planet where I am affirming is going to be an important part of my life experience as far as just being able to collaborate and co-create and just enjoy awesome vibes out there. Everybody that I've talked to has said awesome things, and so I'm excited to reconnect with Daniel, and we've collaborated before. We initially met on a Abraham Hicks cruise in the beautiful Australia and Fiji and everywhere else that thing went. That was awesome, and then reconnected and did a podcast on my podcast, Enlightened Conversations, a few months ago, and highly recommend going and listening to that. We can give you the replay to that. That was really, really good vibes. And today we're going to reconnect again and just talk about what I know about us, Daniel. For all of us, like, things are always evolving, so there's lots of things to talk about that are just, they're bubbling up that are going to come out and what's meant to be shared today. So. And we'll open it up for questions. We'll talk about universal abundance, and then also you just launched a podcast, Main Character Modalities. That's the title of the podcast?
Yeah. We haven't officially launched, but right now I'm seeking. You're definitely going to be on there. You're going to be one of the beautiful participants. But yeah, we can talk about main character modalities, how to be the main character in the life in the movie of life. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of my favorite pictures to paint for everybody. And when I discovered that life is a movie and that we're the main character, we're the star of our own movie, and taking it even further, we're the writer and the director and the producer, the cast and crew, like
we're director, every aspect of it.
Absolutely.
And remember, like, just before we get too far in that, you just want to remind people that everything is a reflection. So when you see things happen in the outside world, especially in places that are meant to project things out to you, often they're taking occult information. They're taking not necessarily hidden information because they're placing it out in the open, but it's just slightly skewed. And it looks like you're watching something or participating with something that's outside of you, but really they're using all of this knowledge and this wisdom to essentially show you what they, which is just you, want you to see. And so it's important to understand that sometimes it's as simple as really understanding how we are susceptible or how we are being shown things, how that affects what we then project into our realities, both emotionally and physically and energetically. So that's just really quick.
Absolutely. For anyone out there that hasn't grasped that concept and that truth that we're all mirrors for each other and reflections of each other. Wrap that on, grasp that, really, take a look at that, because if we ever find ourselves pointing out anything in another human being that we like, awesome. Like I always tell people, I really appreciate them if they're complimenting me on anything. I tell them I appreciate the compliment, and at the same time, they're seeing what's reflecting from them, and I'm just a reflection of you. And I love just receiving it, and then reflecting that compliment back to them, because it's anytime. And then also, if we're finding something that we choose to condemn in another person or criticize, or we're blaming someone or any of this stuff, that's also it's reflecting from us as well. So it's a great place to start if we've noticed ourselves blaming a lot or condemning a lot or criticizing a lot. I've actually discovered this as a blind spot for myself years ago. And I was like, man, I'm being really critical of just life, period. And just talking a lot of trash and never really taking it too far, not too often as far as verbally. Like I was never the vibe like verbally assaulting people. At the same time, that doesn't need to be said to actually affect our present moment energy, because it's bouncing around in your head. Eventually it will come out of your mouth, but it's still affecting your vibe in the moment. And I had to take a look at that, for myself, and, start practicing doing something different. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to say when it comes to being mirrors.
We're gonna say a lot. I know. It's not even one other thing.
just on that, I always really appreciate knowing that I can receive awareness from, and just hopefully Daniel and I share some things wherever you're watching this live, or if you're seeing the replay of this, that one thing that could just be an additional light bulb moment to where can uplift your awareness, a reminder of who all of us truly are. Nothing that we share is going to be isolated to only a segment of the population. It's just reminders that at one time we may have forgotten as well. I really know that all of us come here as unconditional, loving little babies, and remember what we truly are. And then for a time, a lot of us forget, maybe compare ourselves, asking, are we enough? Thinking that we're separate. The illusion of separateness. That we'll definitely get into that, because I see that as one of the biggest human challenges for sure. But I just appreciate when I become humble enough to know, and excited enough to know, that we're all connected in one, and it's not just cliche. So that I can receive awareness, even if it's just being aware of the direction I really don't want to go, and be like, appreciate you showing me that. Like I want to go this direction. Not focusing on, not making them wrong for that. But awareness can come from anywhere at any time. So I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow. It's already getting hot, and I'm in Costa Rica, so it's like it's already hot here. So I'm imagining I might have to get a little like sweat rag.
I don't know if I could do this from outside in Miami. It's probably the same temperature. I'll be dripping in sweat by the time this is all said. You see how I'm talking and moving around? Like,
yeah. I'm gonna try not to like sweat it out on the screen, too much. But when you're moving energy, it has to move. It has to escape in some way. And sweat is a beautiful way to purify the body and this. So,
absolutely.
Well, what should we dive into first, brother? I know we want to hit a few points, and I'm really excited to build with you regarding universal abundance, because I feel that when I spoke with you, it's probably about a week ago now, about what you had created back in November. So, just hearing that and the path you had been on, and just the thoughts that you were in alignment with, as far as seeing human beings as having their innate nature be like dwell in abundance, right? They call it a well-being, right? That means that your being is actually in a well of wellness. It's springing forth in so many ways. But if we don't know how to seek out that wisdom or that information, or that abundance is our innate, it's our birthright, right? If we think that abundance is coming out, coming from somewhere else outside of us, then it can never spring forth and we can't be generative in that way. And this idea of abundance is about being generative just in at the very least, in your thoughts, emotions, feelings regarding the topic of abundance. And abundance comes in every form, right? I look at nature. There's a tree over here. There's fruit just falling off the tree, right? It's almost like it makes I can't consume it all, but that tree and that thing that is natural is abundant. No matter what plant you're looking at, flowers, like it just grows in abundance. So if we create those layers of separation and we separate ourselves from nature, we forget how abundant we actually are meant to be because of that illusion of, okay, nature's out there and I'm here. And the world is such a beautiful space to explore, but if we ever get, too caught up in the misdirection, right? So we're going to dive into some of the movie terms that are often just in our language, but the misdirection, which means that we aren't directing our own lives or directing our own energy flow where we want it, then we could be distracted and then shown things and then buy into things that just aren't true based on your innate knowing and your well-being. So I'm excited to dive into universal abundance because I feel like it's an absolute perfect scenario for the world in which we find ourselves in right now. And you being a solution-focused human being, but also an intuitive being, you created this last year, at the end of last year, before these things showed up in our space and time. And so I feel like it deserves to really have that spotlight, and that's why I'm in alignment with what you put forth, and it really is about us all holding that space for each other to be abundant. So,
absolutely, I appreciate the alley oop. I will dunk this home any day of the week. I love talking about this because this is really what I see for humanity going forward, and it's how humanity existed back when we lived together in tribes, way back when, way before any of us were alive or anybody, grandparents, great-grandparents, back when, you might have had to encounter a saber-toothed tiger or two, back in those days where, people had to help each other and come together, where if you were someone that could hunt or fish and, gather food, then if you didn't, then we didn't eat. The tribe didn't eat. Or if you didn't maintain the fire, if you didn't do that, or if you didn't watch the kids so that they didn't get, all lost in the wilderness, then nothing would function if everybody didn't do their part. Everybody had their role. And so everybody had an abundance, had more than enough that they need because everybody was doing their role and everybody just was able to utilize the abundance of the planet, like you just mentioned with the fruit, falling in abundance off the tree. I love it. And the biggest illusion for us as human beings, and it starts with the illusion that we're separate from who we truly are, from the divine, thinking that that's something that's outside of us. That's really where the separation starts, is that illusion. When we can grasp that we're, that non-physical energy is who and what all of us truly are, whether you call it God, universe, love, all that is, source, spirit, infinite intelligence, nature, whatever you want to call it. When we realize that these are just physical avatars that we see, Daniel's is called Daniel, mine's called Noel, yours is called whoever you are out there. That's just housing this non-physical energy that is who all of us truly are. We can grasp that and know that we're all just different expressions of it. That's where we're all connected, we're all one concept. That's where it really begins, is we're just different expressions of the same stuff. And when we can grasp that, then we can be excited for our fellow human beings and not be in a competitive mind state where if they're winning, then that means I can't win. That's definitely an illusion. But be excited and be inspired to where we can, be able to create, the things that we want to create. And all that I've done, Daniel and everybody out there listening, is I just asked the universe to show me how we can create the 2020 version of when everybody who has, unique things that they're drawn to, excited about, passionate about, life experience. We've all lived such different life experiences. And for everybody out there listening, whether you're live with us or you're seeing this on the replay, you've probably done some things in your life, like a lot, that 99% of the rest of us, we haven't had that much life experience doing that. And you're drawn to it. You enjoy it. Like, you're passionate about it. And it makes it really fun because, like, I'll meet somebody that they're super passionate about music. I love music. I haven't, developed a passion to, like, create it, on myself. Like, I don't know if you guys would really want to hear me sing, even though all parents claim. Like my mom says, you used to sing like Little Michael when you were young. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. I mean, show me the evidence of this, and if so, why wasn't I encouraged to continue this on? Because this could be a very nice profession. But my point is, when we can realize that we're just different expressions and we all have things that we're drawn to, and if we're willing to share it with each other, whether these days with technology, we don't even have to be in person to share. Like you could be inspired to share, one thing on social media that has benefited you, and if it helps one person, the way I look at the world, that impacts the whole, because that one person, you've just uplifted their vibration, their frequency, their mood, their energy. And now they have a choice to go, either do something to evolve that further or inspire them to go do something else. And so I just asked the universe to show me how I could create something that all of us could participate in, all of us can co-create in, can collaborate in. And I asked, what's the most valuable thing that we could create together? Because the way that I'm looking at the world as it exists in all of our lifetimes is all we know when it comes to, financial abundance specifically is someone, decides to create something of value. And then whatever people are willing to pay for it, you have an energy exchange, and in our time is an exchange of money. They get the value, and that's all that we know. So I was like, what's something that we can create together that would be more valuable than anything that we can create on our own? And because of that value, not just me exchange it for energy exchange, but everybody that's participating, everybody that's co-creating. And by the way, when it comes to universal abundance and what I created that I'm sharing with you guys right now, everybody on the planet is invited to not only share, but also to allow what's being shared to uplift your consciousness. And then as a result, be like, wow, do what you would do anyways when it comes to if you read a good book or ate at a good restaurant or watched a good movie. You want to uplift another person that you care about, even if it's just one or two friends, like you'll share a good book that you read with them. And so taking that uplifting consciousness, uplifting the consciousness of others, and then as a result, having this abundance where we're all like thriving, and we can attract the monetary and the time abundance, because abundance to me is having more than enough of everything that matters to us. So I want human beings, like the world that I want to live in is a world where every human being can wake up and ask themselves, what sounds most fun today? What sounds most fulfilling? What do I want to spend my time doing? And if it's traveling with family or spending time with friends or creating things for humanity or whatever it is, that's the world where I want to see everybody doing that. And just think about how rapidly the world changes when everybody is, being able to live that way without asking the question that I know all of us have asked at some point in our lives, and maybe you're asking right now, and maybe it's even intensified right now because of what's going on in the world. Do I have the time or do I have the money to do that? And that's not a question that we have to ask, but it's a question that we have all asked and maybe are asking now. The way to never have to ask that question again, the difficult way, is to continue with the illusion that we're separate and think, what can I do to get out of this mess? What can I create? What can I do? What can I do? You can do that. I'm not discouraging personal brands or going to write books or creating courses. Do whatever you're inspired to do. But just know that an easier and faster way is to ask, how can we help each other? Because the things that you need to learn to go create that book, there's been somebody else that's already become aware of it and written a book and now can inspire you to take those things and write your book. But at the same time, along the way, you can be sharing the things that you're already uniquely capable to share, and you're just adding value to what already exists. And we can keep adding value, and then monetize it in a way to where if you're out there listening to this right now, whatever amount of money that you would need to come in to be totally free, to where you could wake up every day and just ask the question, what sounds most fun, what sounds most fulfilling, and you have all the money coming in to support that, and then you're not putting any extra time to earn that money, to where it's like, well, okay, I know the amount of money that I want, and I know I can have that coming in, but I got to go spend 40 hours a week to get it, or 60 hours. That's just a different dynamic, because now you probably be spending that 40 hours or 50 hours or however many hours doing the thing that you feel called to do, that thing that's fulfilling to you. And that's where I want to see your time going out there, and everybody's time going, not spending 1 second doing anything other than what you feel like you're called to do. And so,
in a good way to even think about that, right? So just for anybody out there who, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, however far, or even right now, if you were still going into that, job place or that workplace, no matter how passionate you are about that thing that you do, about that thing that you're employed to do, the biggest question is, would you put in an extra 10 hours for free? Would you put in an extra 20 hours for free? Would you do it if they never paid you? If they didn't pay you for that week, would you show up the next week and say, "Oh man, I don't care. I'm good." If the answer is no, like if it's right, we get into these soft no's, these soft yeses, but there's also these fuck no's and these fuck yeses, right? So for me, I had to ask myself that question a while ago. If my job didn't pay me, would I go back? And it was always a fuck home, So that was just an agreement that I had with myself to continue to do that until I was able to chart a different course for myself. And for those that don't know my story, and you might not even know this, brother, I retired when I was 30. So when I was 30 years old, and I projected that timeline or that time frame or just that idea when I was probably 25, right? So when I was 25, I was like, I don't want to work past the time that I'm 30. When I'm 30, whatever I'm doing, and at the time I had an engineering job and I was working, the 40, 50 hours a week, no more, right? I cut myself off from doing anything extra because I wanted to use that extra time to lay out a different foundation for myself. But I said to myself, when I'm 30, I'm out. And sure enough, when I was 30, I was able to walk away from that job, and I haven't worked since. Right, so really, what you're saying is you've created a platform that if I knew about this when I was 25, I probably would have been able to do that by the time I was 26, like in a year or less, right? But there's a time and space for everything, and I feel like this is the right time for what you created because of what it is. So maybe dive in, if you choose, a little bit deeper into what is universal abundance and how do people engage and interact with it? Because when you showed me the videos and the software and the platform, I for me it was just this makes sense because I've already gone through that process of realizing what I didn't want to do to then move towards what I did want to do. And also, it wasn't about retiring from my job or even making the same income as I was at the job. It was just making enough income to cover my expenses, right? So I spent some time just minimizing what my output was, minimizing, how much money I spent on these extracurricular things as if, maybe I wasn't, maybe I need to simplify in order to figure out what is my actual output if I'm not doing these extra things. And I think for me it was it was so low. It was maybe 1,500, maybe $1,000, maybe with rent and food. I was living much more simply then. I was a bachelor, the whole thing. But some people have families, so that 1,500 or that 1,000 might be 2,500. Either way, the same. Your platform is for people that want to generate any amount of money. But for me, I set my goal at what I needed it to be and not even trying to push it into okay, I'm making, 60, 70, 80 grand at my job. So gosh, in order to retire, I need to be making that or more. And it's no. Retirement for me, if we even want to call it that, to me, it just represented being free, being flexible, being being time wealthy. Right, I had my time. So once I had my time, I could do whatever I wanted. So once I was able to move into that space where I was making that 1,000 at 1,500, I had all the time in the world to do whatever I wanted. If I wanted to spend that time to not do anything, that's not in my nature, so I wouldn't have really done that. But I could have. I use that time to dive deeper into myself, to get spiritually prepared for the next phases of my life. I use that time to travel, and just be innovative, be thoughtful about how did I really want to spend my time? How do I really want to show up in the world? And this Daniel that people see today is really the version 3.0 or 4, of the version of Daniel that used to go into work every day and maybe enjoy 30% of it, maybe even 25. I really wasn't enjoying what I was doing, but I had a will. My willpower kept me there because I had another idea of myself that was coming online, right? So we all have an idea of ourselves, and then we might even have an idea of like who we maybe want to be or who we feel ourselves to be as a new expression that we're growing into in some form or fashion. And sometimes we need time and energy to develop that sense of self. And main character modalities really dials into that, like really dialing into who you are at your core before everything else gets piled on and labeled on top of you. So yeah, what I used that time for was just developing my new sense of self. Who really was I? And the beautiful thing about not being a separate being was everyone else was reflecting back to me who I wasn't as well as who I was. Right, the parts of myself that I loved and the part of myself that I hadn't learned to love yet. It's all good. It was all whole. Like no matter which way it came in, it was like, oh, if that person doesn't like that thing about me and it affects me, that means I also agree with them. I'm agreeing at some level that maybe that person's right. Maybe that person's a good judge of character. Maybe they know me, right? So then I took those things on to again develop that sense of self that was whole. And so any reflections that came in, I was able to work with those reflections and never had to, well, not that I never had to, I definitely, when I was unprepared spiritually, sent it back quickly. Like, nope, you're not talking to me. I sent it back because I wasn't able to really dial into that within myself. But that takes awareness. And really what you're getting into is universal, abundance is helping people to free up their energy and free up their time to dial into like, who am I? Who am I? Like, if I don't have the job, who am I now? If I don't have that career, if that career is changing, if these life paths that I was on are shifting, who am I? Right? And when you have the time and you have the energy, and you can say like, yeah, money helps us do that because maybe you're dialing into a coach, or maybe you're dialing into a program, or maybe you're dialing into some breath work to, alleviate some of the stress or some of the anxiety or some of the, just tension that we tend to hold as humans. So there's nothing wrong with using abundance to dive into the self, but your energy is free, and someone realized that they could pay you for it. And most people fit into that system, or have at one point fit into that system. They sold their energy for in exchange of value. And really, I like universal abundance is allowing us to use that energy to create more alongside other human beings. So, that's a little bit of my story, and then how I see universal abundance fitting into people that I know, fitting into my life currently, because I feel like I live an abundant life. But when I think about the simplicity of what you created, it's like, oh, I can keep going. Like, oh, I don't have to stop where I'm at. I could just do a little bit more and create a little bit more abundance, even if it's $300 a month or $500 a month, or $1,000. And I think your system, you got it dialed in so that a person could be making like a minimum amount and a maximum amount.
No maximum.
Like,
no maximum.
Yeah.
No maximum. Well, maximum.
Max. Okay, yeah. There we go. Yeah.
If all 7.7 billion plus humans participate, then I guess it can max out. But everybody's invited, so until that happens, then there's no maximum.
Yeah.
I'll show you. I'm gonna share my screen. You've inspired me.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything that you just shared, and I'm inspired to show you guys exactly what it is, because I like how you just described it. And let me share my screen with you guys.
Yeah, I've rarely actually talked about my story, and you inspired me to really, to share.
I didn't know any of that.
And with the podcast and things like that, and specifically with this platform right here, it's inspiring me to share more, because I'm realizing that at one point I valued what I gave based on what someone would pay me, but I'm now realizing that because my energy is gold, right? And if I'm giving my gold away, then I, at the end of the day, would have no value. But if I learn that my energy is I can assign any value that I want on it, all I have to do is pay attention, right? Some of these terms, again, we have to be dialed into the language that we've been using. Pay attention, right? So, and that brings us right into, paying attention to what you put forth so that we can understand how to, find the value in it.
Absolutely. Well, so this is the Universal Abundance homepage, and I'm going to log in and show you guys the what's inside. But it's really simple. It's just three things. It's awareness, giving you access, and abundance. And awareness as far as just the upliftment in consciousness, things that right now you aren't conscious of that now you are, a moment later. And it can happen in so many different ways. The way that we do it is through, workshops like these, which are super important. But initially, here, let me log in. Let me hit the login. This is universalabundance.co. Anybody that ever showed you this video that's already participating in universalabundance.co, they'll have a link that'll take you to this homepage, so it all tracks back to them. But once you log in, what you're going to see is a huge portal of just information, the awareness part first, because that's important. And I truly believe, I think I already mentioned this, that we can receive awareness from any human being on the planet. That's why I collaborate so much. The last couple of years, I've collaborated with almost 200 people that are life coaches and spiritual teachers and yoga masters and healers and just people that are already helping people in various ways, shapes, and forms, relationship coaches. So when you come inside of Universal Abundance, you'll see a section. And when you guys are watching this, I want you to register how valuable this would be, like for you and then also for humanity, because whatever this value that registers to you, this is what I asked the universe to show me how I could create something so valuable that it could be monetized in a way to where you never have to work again. Like I've been getting more and more blunt with what I'm saying. And Daniel, since you shared your story so beautifully, because I didn't know that that was an intention at 25, and to be able to achieve that by 30 is awesome. And I like how you described if this was around at 25. If this is around at 25, like if somebody else had created it, for sure I would have been by 26 also the same way, because I also, technically retired myself at around 31, but there was just, but I still was putting in hours, so not really. I was still putting in, but I was for myself. It was residual, but it was a different scenario. So I asked the universe to show me something easier, something that could be more valuable for me and for humanity, and that we can monetize in the way that I'm getting ready to show you guys. So the personal growth section in here, because I collaborated with so many people that are helping people, it's robust. I mean, there's people that are, again, best-selling authors and spiritual teachers and healers. And I mean, even if you look at some of the titles of these videos, like this is Jessica, who's out in Hawaii, really, really close friend of mine. Universe to-do list, be an example of love. Joanne is a hypnotherapist. Fill your cup first. James is a yoga, a yoga master in Los Angeles. We talked a lot about the reason we titled this "Fill Your Cup Up First." We were talking about how Oprah would talk about how we can't pour from an empty cup, and so many others have also talked about this. So if you notice, there's people from just all different backgrounds and walks of life, lots of spiritual teachers, because again, I feel like I can get awareness from anyone. We have some awesome love and relationships, some sexual therapists, like any area of life that matters to you, we have information there. But for me, there's so much information in the world. Like we all walk around with these additional brains in our pockets, so you can look up pretty much anything that you want to look up about anything. And so I wanted to take it a step further and actually give access to people that, imagine if every book, so these are two best-selling authors that I'm going to show you. Imagine every book you ever read in your life, you could get the author on the phone and say, on page 30, I've read this and it makes sense, but I have a question that pertains to my life that would really help me if you can answer this. That's just not possible. Crystalline is a best-selling author. She writes books that are fiction books that help people heal from traumas, but she makes it like an entertaining, adventurous, novel, type story to where you can have your awareness, but at the same time be entertained, and really, really cool human. She's on the Comic-Con panel for this year, but they got kind of sidetracked right now because of what's going on. So awesome human being, and we just go on and share and answer questions. And so imagine if you watch the video, because she has videos also in the personal growth section. So imagine if you watch the video and you're like, really wish I could ask Crystal a question. Well, as a part of this, you can, and so many others. So just combining the awareness with intimate access that you really wouldn't get from people unless you were part of their one-on-one coaching or their community, their mastermind or something like that. And so for me, that makes it as valuable as we can do online. I can't really think of anything more valuable than being able to have our consciousness uplifted and be able to ask questions from people that we're getting that uplift from. But I was like, let's take it further than that. And how can we come together around the world, see this beautiful world, enjoy this beautiful world, and be able to rub shoulders with each other and to be able to high five and handshake and hug each other and be able to share some of these truths that are, from your own unique life experience and be able to share it in person so where we can uplift each other and enjoy our lives and scale the abundance financially and time to where if I tell you that we're having an event in, July in Bali or Costa Rica, where Daniel is, it's not a matter of can you come? Do you have the time and the money? Can you get the time off your job? Forget that. Like, I want to move to a place where are you inspired to go? Like, I mean, maybe you have some other things. Maybe that's not in the cards for you, but you could. Like, you can get a flight. You can come there. You can spend as much time there if you want to stay there an additional month because you're having so much fun. Stay. You have more money coming in and you have the time to do it. And this is what I wanted to create for everybody on the planet. Again, every single one of you is invited. And so, so that's the components. And I'll share with you guys how the financials work because if this seems valuable to you, you might ask, well, how can I get paid for this? Well, first, before I share this, everybody on the planet also is invited to share content if you want to. It's not a requirement to be involved. But imagine if you're a parent out there and you have no desire really to even use social media that much. You don't want to write any books. You don't want to create any courses. But you've become aware of some things about parenting that a lot of the rest of us have not become aware of yet because we haven't had your life experience. So imagine if you just were inspired to just create, one video or one audio or one written, little blog post where you could just share the things that you become aware of. And I go in here as, a new parent. I'm not a new parent, but if I go in here as a parent or whoever, and I just type in parenting in the search, and then all of a sudden I see your video or your audio or whatever it is that you were inspired to share, and that uplifts my consciousness. That says, oh, wow, I really appreciate being able to become aware of that I wasn't aware of before I read or listened to or watched what you just created. Didn't you make the entire collective of what we're creating even more valuable by you just being willing to share? Even if, for you it might have taken 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes to do it, but you just uplifted the consciousness to where you just changed someone's life. Like you made them conscious of something that's valuable to them. And that's what I wanted to create. So everybody's invited to share. You can, when you become a member, it'll show with you how to share and all this stuff. Again, not a requirement. There's an abundance of content. So we're never going to, there's so many collaborations. Like I'm having someone soon come into my life that their passion is to edit videos and to do all the behind the scenes stuff that right now I do a lot of it. I'm calling in someone that's their passion to where once that person is in place, like there could be 100 new videos here like the same day. Like the content is like overflowing. Like because there's so many awesome humans in the planet that are coming together. And so you want me to go right into the how the finances work, Daniel? I don't want to tease people too much. You want me to share that?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, we might even let them breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll jump in because I feel like you said some really powerful things, and it really is. A couple times you said everyone's invited, right? So that for me is so welcoming because it's like there's so many things out there that we've technically had to pay for, and there's a cost of entry. There's this fee or this thing that is maybe financially keeping us from getting involved or even travel, right? It's like, okay, the plane ticket costs this much, so like I still have to buy the plane ticket to get there. And you said a couple really dope things. Everyone's invited, right? So that must mean that the cost of entry is probably pretty low. I know what it costs, but you're going to get into that. And that we can both use it as a tool of, I hate to use this word, but like I won't use a word, but as a way of receiving. I was going to say consumption, but as a way of receiving. We join something like this as a way of receiving what it is that we know we deserve access to. And just a couple things that you showed me, it's like dialing into an author or dialing into these different people. One is like being able to, I would say, watch their content is one thing, but then, taking it a step further because now we're in a community where other people are choosing to also do some similar things. So there's there's power in numbers, as they say. So as everyone's invited, that means that we're creating this, and I'm going to call it a bubble because, you know, um, as much stuff as we see out there that people are sharing, everything's not for me, right? I don't want to. I don't want to pay my attention, right? I don't want to invest my time into just things that don't actually return value back to me. So really, what you've created is this space, this container where I know that as a participant, as a member, and even I can reach further and say, as a person that's uploading content and creating content, as a content creator, not only am I receiving value for being a part of that, I can send my energy into that space as well. And that I will be received, welcomed, acknowledged, seen, right? And that's such a big part of what this is like some of us have wanted to share things for so long. Some of us have just wanted to, overflow from, that space that we've known that we have. But sometimes even the thought will like take something out of the cup. Like, oh, but what if they don't accept it? What if they don't believe me? What if I'm not ready? That's just like, that's you taking liquid out of the cup, right? And then there's nothing really there to overflow. But and I don't really even think that there's a cup. I feel you're a conduit. You're empty and you're full at the same time. So we could dial into that as well. But being a part of something like this feels like what they call like a safe space, or a place where I know that if I'm speaking about these topics, that I'm now broadcasting to an audience that I know is going to benefit because of just the energetics of the people that are in it, the energetics of you wouldn't even pay for the service if you weren't, again, wanting to understand more about yourself, right? So you're already encouraged to be a part of it because you're wanting to dial into yourself, but then also like wanting to share your content. My sister April's on the line, I see, and just spending time around her, she has so much to share, right? So much to share. Just like talk about a human being that has had like a beautiful life experience that has just been full. And when we have that full experience, that means that we've learned something along that path. And sometimes when we're learning, there's those what we consider hard lessons, but a lesson isn't really something that's meant to lessen, right? It means that there's something to be gained from the experience of that lesson. So again, you got to be careful with this language. A lesson is actually like lesson. It lessens me. But there's always something to be gained from these experiences. And those things that we're gaining actually add to our value because it continues to develop our uniqueness. Each and every human is unique and they have a story. And as we get better and better at sharing from that well-being, the story that we share, we realize that we're like honing that skill of like sharing about myself, sharing, feeling comfortable, feeling safe, feeling held, feeling accomplished, feeling successful. Even though I've experienced these failures, I'm going to actually share from the experience and what I've learned from those. I'm never going to let those lessen me. I'm never going to let those just be lessons. I'm going to share from a place of like, this is what I've gained from that, right? So that's my uniqueness. And so as I share that and I develop that skill, right now you can even like feel the energy that is coming across the screen. And I don't even want to say part of it, a lot of this value that we're talking about is about resonance and energy. So to resonate with someone or something is to call it like an energetic match, right? And if there's resonance, that means that there is this sharing, right? Which we would call like, I like that person's vibe. We say things like that all the time. But that really means like we're sharing energy in a way where, wow, my cup, I'm filling up my own cup just by being in the space. My cup is like, And if I know I'm not a cup and I'm a conduit, like, wow, it just keeps coming, right? And so as we participate in communities like this, we're basically saying to ourselves, I want to put myself in a space where if I watch 3 hours of content, I'm going to, and it resonates, right? So it has to be a vibrational match. It has to be an energetic match, or else you might as well just switch to something else. But if there is that resonance and that vibrational match, the energy exchange that is happening is palpable, right? We call that inspiration. We call that being inspired. We call that like being uplifted. And then we would even say, I appreciate that person. Take that word, right? Appreciate. What appreciates? Things of value, right? So if I'm appreciating you, then I'm actually adding value, right? And really the appreciation is something that I'm giving. It's energy that I'm choosing to give, but in order to give it, I have to have it, right? So developing the space, being in the container, finding ways to find the resonance, tuning into the energy, appreciating, adding value, receiving value, and then using that to uplift, to add more value into another person's life, into another person's space. And that could be by, of course, sharing or creating the video, or there's so many ways within that platform that a person can continue to do that. So I just wanted to say that before we went into, the specifics of the money, because sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, tell me about the money, but like, you can't really make money with something unless you are already an energetic match to it, unless you're already inspired to be a part of it, unless there's resonance. And once you know that there's resonance, which we built that resonance with each other. And so I know that where you go, right, because I resonate with you, I know that I'm going to be uplifted because of that. And I feel like you might feel the same about me, that, based on how we're sharing or how we're calibrating with each other, if we make it as simple as like, once we get off this call, I'm going to be buzzing. Like, I'm going to be buzzing. But I have to have a way to channel that energy into something. So that's also what, the platform is. It's like, once you get your cup filled, hone in the skill of sharing, right? Now it's called forgiveness. It's called forgiving, not forgetting. So again, we gotta pay attention to the language. Forgetting is like forgetting, not forgetting, forgetting, right? And then forgiving is forgiving. That's why forgiveness is so powerful, because it's an outward and an upward movement of energetics. Just like as if I was doing Tai Chi and I lift and I move my energy up, right? That's forgiving. Or if I moved it out, you could some people that are sensitive probably feel that when I do my hands. Like, you might be able to feel that. And so these things that we're talking about are about forgiving or forgiveness. And so I just want to dial into that really quick while I was streaming through. And because I think, I have a feeling that, like, once you show the numbers, it's going to be, a thing that may be obvious to some, and maybe it's obvious already to some people, but, some people need that logical part. But I work with strictly energy. If it doesn't resonate, I'm out. If it doesn't align, I'm out, because then I can use that energy someplace else. So.
I love that, brother. I love Daniel's use of words and language. I was like, dang, forgetting. I resonate completely with that, and I could feel your energy when you did that, for sure. That's awesome. I love that so much, yeah, guys. What Daniel just described, I mean, I'm all working with energy as well. So for me, that's why I just asked the universe, what would be the most valuable thing that I could do through me with all my, even though this was only created in November. I'm 37. This is 37 years of life experience and awareness that is all put into one, beautiful thing. And then combining all the, 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years of however many years the other people that are collaborating, their life experience. So it's putting, and beyond that, I mean, just passing forth everything that we can share to make what we're creating more valuable. And that's why everybody's encouraged to just add to that. Because the more that you add to it, the more that you make the collective more valuable. And then it just attracts more abundance to it, from there. So I wanted to share all that with you guys first. You can be like, yeah, that sounds pretty valuable. Now I'll show you what can happen for you financially if you decide to participate. So going back to the Universal Abundance homepage really quick, just to show you guys what it takes to get started. And then just keep in mind, so everybody that, because there's a monthly membership and there's actually 3 memberships, depending on, there's a $20 membership, which I'll show you. So that's what it costs to get started. So I wanted to make sure that this was at a place where anybody, no matter where they were on the planet, even if they were in a country where $20 US would just be like crazy amount of money, I wanted them to be able to come together with 20 people in their community and say, let's combine forces and be able to get this membership, not only for our own upliftment, but also so that they can attract the abundance that I'm getting ready to talk about with you guys here in a second as well. So it's just a twofold thing. And just so you guys know with the money right off the bat, I'll show you guys this. Let me share my screen to the money page that I just opened up. Okay, so here we go. So right off the bat, for anybody that you introduce to the community, very important. So that $20, like, I want you to not, I don't want anybody to be thinking about money going out. I want to be thinking about just what Daniel said, being able to forgive, giving value, adding to it, to the whole. It's not a requirement, but we highly encourage you to give, to just make the whole thing more valuable. And then I want you to be focused on what can we attract, what kind of abundance can we create, what can we bring in. And so the way that works is anybody that, because I know that if your consciousness is uplifted, you're going to want to do that anyways for people that you care about. You know, and I care about everybody in humanity. That's why everybody is invited, because I know we're all connected. And so anybody that you introduce to this, you'll have an affiliate link. We're going to give you 50% of their monthly membership forever, coming in every single month. So that $20 membership level, and there's 3, like I said, there's a $100 membership. There's also a $1,000 membership. I'll explain to you what those are. And just remember that 50% applies to all. So, 50% coming in for the people that you introduce, meaning you introduce 2 humans out of the 7.7 billion on Earth that you want to see them, their consciousness uplifted and participate in this. You're already like free membership right there. Like you're taken care of just right off the bat. We take it one more step further because this is not like network marketing or, MLM or anything like that. I have 12 years of experience in the industry, which again, this is 37 years of life experience, because the parts of that where I'm like, I kind of like how that works, but I don't like all of this, how this works. I wanted to include that because I know that those people that you introduce, they're going to do the same thing and they're going to want to get their membership for free. So they're going to invite at least 2 people, to participate so that their membership is free as well. So we're going to give you also 25% for those people that they introduce, just as an additional thank you for helping the community expand, because we know none of them would probably know about it if it weren't for you. And so if you multiply that 25% times both, say those 2 people you introduced do the same, now that's 4 additional people where you're getting 25%. Well, now you're making 100% profit of what you just put into the community. So now you're like, you put 20 in and you have 40 coming back. I think any of us would take that exchange all day long, especially if it was coming in every single month. Like, you just would enjoy it. So you don't have to stop there. And again, there's memberships that allow this to scale, but that's just the initial how it works as far as the abundance. And the beautiful thing about technology and where we are in 2020 is we have things like PayPal that exist in everywhere on the planet. And so when somebody gets started and gets their membership, one of the options is to enroll through PayPal. You can use just a regular credit card as well. But if you do it through PayPal, we're paying out the same way. So if you introduce someone and they pay through PayPal, that money actually will show up in your PayPal account the same day. So, I mean, talk about like immediate, like you flow out energy, you uplift someone and immediately abundance attracted to you like instantly. Like that's super powerful. And so I love that part about it. And so I'm going to scroll down then I'll scroll back up so I show you guys the number. So if you only got the $20 membership, how that would look just by me sharing what I just shared with you. Say you just introduced like 3 people and you just help them get their membership for free. Like nobody was like trying to go out there and create like thousands of dollars, but just everybody just wanted to have their consciousness uplifted. I'm going to show you in a second how to, matter of fact, I'll just preview this. We're going up to these numbers in a second. So just know that these numbers here, if you want to know how to do that, like what I just highlighted, we're going there in a second. So just to catch your attention. But just to start at the $20 membership, if you invited 3 people and you just helped them get their membership for free, you already have not only 3 people that are appreciative for you because you just helped their life, but also you have $60 a month coming into you. Do that for 5 people, you have $100 a month coming in for you. Just by helping 5 people get a free membership where they're having their consciousness uplifted. Like that's pretty good. Like you have $100 just coming in, like you're paying 20, like you're happy. It's a good energy exchange. Everybody again can participate in the energy exchange. And then the more people that, those people introduce, say those 5 people also introduce 5. Now you have $175 a month coming in. So you'd be happy with that. Let's take it up a notch because we have a $100 membership as well, which is like, say you were taking a coaching program, one-on-one coaching, and the things that coach or that spiritual teacher would teach you the first day or remind you of, because innately we know all of these things. Like truth, we always know to be true when we hear it and we feel it. That's what Daniel was describing when it comes to resonance. Like you resonate with something when you're ready for it, and something could also be truth, but it's just not the time for you to resonate with it. I've been there where I've had people that I've been introduced to, years ago, and I was like, not really feeling this. And then 10 years later, I'm like, damn, this is my favorite spiritual teacher on the earth. I just wasn't ready. So, it all depends, but it's all relevant. That's why I want to have so many people sharing. So you'll find people that you resonate with for sure. So the $100 would be like their advanced stuff. So we have the creators that are sharing stuff, in a $20 section that is, great stuff. If they're willing to share things that are more advanced, if they have advanced stuff to share, that's in the $100 section. And then we also have live workshops where you can ask questions from that place as well. So it's just taking it up a notch, increasing the energy, increasing the value that we're all sharing. And so let's just look at the numbers, because the numbers work the exact same way. And say you just brought those 5 people that you brought with you from the $20 membership. Say you've invited 5 people or 2 people, and you just bring them with you. Well, here's how that works. If you just invite those 2 people to come with you, now your $100 membership is free because we're giving you 50% of that. If they do that as well, and we just help them get their membership for free, now you've just brought in an extra $120 on top of whatever it is that you were earning from the $20 membership. That doesn't go away. That's just coming with you. So it's just going to compound. So now you have, $120 coming in, per month. You're happy. You're excited. And you don't have to stop there. You can invite as many people. How the numbers look. Say you invite, 3 people and help them just get their $100 membership for free. It's going to be $360 a month for you. That's what Daniel was mentioning. If you just want to bring in $300 a month, that's a really easy way to do it. You can do that right away in your PayPal account. This could happen today if you wanted it to. 4 people. You guys see the numbers here. You invited 5 people and just help them get their $100 membership for free by inviting 2 people themselves. $600 a month coming in for you. It's a nice little income. You're now making, it's like, what's the $3,000 a month? I'm going to mess that math. That's wrong. $7,200 a year. That's what I got. I can do math quick in my head sometimes. And then we'll take it up one more step because, again, for me, online is awesome and you can provide so much value and connect with people and ask questions and all that stuff. But to me, it's most valuable. Like, I love going to events. Like where I met Daniel at was a live event. I happened to be on a cruise ship in Fiji. These are the type of things that I want to be able to do with everybody out there on the planet that wants to do those things as well. Because, again, we could just add even more value to each other and really enjoy life. And this scales like exponentially as a result. So we have a $1,000 membership monthly. And, so say you already were earning $1,000. Say from the $100 section here, say you had invited, say you invited 10 people and just helped them get their membership for free. And you had $1,200 a month coming in. At that point, you might want to, or if you invited 5 people and they invited 5, you'd have $1,000 and $50 coming in. However the numbers work, it always works the same. 50% for the people you introduce, 25% for the people that they introduce, without getting too complicated. So the $1,000 membership is a mastermind where all we're talking about is how we can uplift the community. How can we add more value? What do we feel like we can add to this to make it even more valuable? How we can add value to humanity? Like what else we can do? Like where we want to go spend our time? Like, do we want to go do things for the environment in Australia or in Europe or here in America? Or what do we want to do? Like, how can we collaborate? Because remember, we're a group of people now that have the light bulb on. We're aware of who and what we truly are. We know we're connected. And we have the abundance of time and money, which makes us pretty much as powerful as you can get as a human being in 2020 and beyond. If you have the awareness, the consciousness to know you can be, do, and have anything, have the awareness to ask the question, what would I like to see evolve on this planet? And you have the time and money resource to go with it, to back you, and you have other people with you as well to bring their energy as well. If I could think of anything more powerful than that, I would have created that, or been participating in that. But this is what the universe showed me, like create this, and so that's what the $1,000 membership is. It's live events all over the planet, and it could be anything that you're inspired. So you join that, and we'll immediately be a part of the mastermind. And if you want to have events where you are in the world, for whatever reason, we'll just we'll create together. Like it's just a co-creation. And so what that looks like, if you bring the same people that you brought from the $20 membership, $100 membership, doesn't even have to be new people. It could be the same people. If you invite 2 people that you just help them get their $1,000 membership for free, now you have $1,120 profit coming into you. Do that with 3 people, you have $3,360 coming in per month to you. It's a really good part-time income. Could be a full-time income for sure. I mean, if you keep going, like you get to the point where it's just unlimited. Whatever is just comfortable for you as far as what you want and need coming in. Let's say you just invite 5 people that eventually start off with the $20 and you do all these memberships when you're ready. There's no requirement to do anything at any time. Just do it when you're ready. The only requirement to get paid, though, from the computer will only pay you if you're an active member there. So say you sign up for the $20 membership today. Here's the cool thing. Say you sign up for the $20 membership today, and then you sign up 2 people, and they're like, I'm going right to the 1,000. They can do that. You'll still see the $500 commission waiting for you you'll see it. The computer won't pay it to you though until you're ready to be a member of that membership. So you'll see it, but it won't pay out until you're a member. So I don't know how long you'll wait to see that you have $1,000 waiting for you before you decide to join the $1,000 membership. Probably won't be that long that you're staring at that, but you'll figure it out. So just side note, like the money doesn't disappear into thin air, but the computer will only pay you if you're an active member of that membership. So if you want to make a 6-figure income, if that's something that has been on like your vision board, but you want to do it where it's coming in residually, where you're not putting in more time, you're not putting in 40 hours a week, because notice everything that I described, the only time element is just you sharing with people that a workshop like this exists, or introducing them to somebody that's already in the community and passionate about it. I've noticed that everybody that I've talked to that I've gotten to share this vision with, like they get very excited about what we're doing because I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm very passionate about this. Like I see this for humanity. So a really easy way to share something with anyone that you're just being excited about, share it with someone, help introduce them to someone that is really passionate about it, and let them share the vision for it until you can share the vision, yourself. To me, that's the easiest way to share anything on the planet is just learn from it from someone who's super passionate about it. And then you'll be like, oh, and you'll resonate with what you resonate with, and whatever you don't resonate with, you can release it. And so, yeah, just if you want to make a 6-figure income, invite 5 people to participate with us and help them do that. And it's $9,800 per month. It's $117,000 per year. If there's an easier way to do this on the planet, please inbox me, tell me so that I can add that to Universal Abundance, or we'll all go participate in that. If there's an easier way, I haven't seen it, and that's all I got for you. So it's pretty simple. There's nothing really else to it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for diving into because I feel like, I love numbers, that's one of the things that helped me through college, through my engineering degree is that numbers, I was doing much more complex math, but, out of, as I was thinking about my day job, it was really easy math. It was okay, I'm making, $70,000, but my expenses are this. So all I need to do is make X amount of dollars. And for some people, it's no matter how big the numbers are or small the numbers are, just find something find a phone bill or find a Netflix subscription or whatever it is and say, I'm going to set a goal. I want my Netflix to be for free, or I want my phone bill paid for giving, for putting time and energy into something that I'm passionate about. So what is the personal exchange that's fair for me? Out here in Costa Rica, my phone bill is like crazy, right? So it's I might actually do that. Okay, my phone bill is X amount of dollars per month. That seems like a little a feasible goal or something that would feel good to me because I can feel the outgoings of that, right? I can feel the outgoings of but I can also feel if I'm going to put my time, energy into something and I know I'm going to get value back, this would be a good thing to exchange for. For some people, it might be rent, right? So let me make it. I want to even dial it into being super super real. I love transparency. I was living in Bali, right? So for anybody that wants to live overseas and they're trying to find a way to do that, if you in your own mind projected out this idea of wow, living overseas is this big dream, this thing, and you kind of push it further out, then it actually can't be close to home within you because it's always far away. When I was in Bali, each meal was like $4, right? The rent that most people were paying, where if they just had like a pretty like dope house, uh, $300 to $400 a month, right? And so when I'm for anybody who wants to travel or wants to like live in a different place, make it even about that. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that you want, like sooner than later, that you have maybe placed as a goal and you maybe pushed away. Bring it a little bit further, especially if it's something that is like a phone bill, or for some people it's like rent. Like, wow, like I'm not seeing how I'm going to pay for my rent, but I'm already producing videos, I'm putting out content. YouTube's not paying me, right? Like, I'm not getting paid fast enough on YouTube. Let's just like get really real about it, because in times like these, some of us are actually asking the question, like, how do I continue to create and receive abundance? I feel like this is a very, like, it just makes sense to me. But again, life experience has helped me understand what makes sense and what doesn't. And so even like where I'm at, when we came out to Costa Rica, before everything was happening in the world, my family and I were looking for places to be here for like a month, right? And not really knowing much about Costa Rica or how much things cost, we just went searching, and of course the universe like plopped people in front of us that were like, hey, like, after this festival is over, you guys are welcome to come over. We're actually going to be renting out our place for 6 months, and then we're going to go to the U.S. and we're looking for somebody that we trust to basically hold down, not house it because we're renting, but really hold down that space and care for it. And we were seeing values. Again, this is in Costa Rica, right? If you look behind me, this is like actual nature, jungle, right? So if you're like missing that, come here first. But two, it's like, how do you afford to live in a place that maybe you haven't like had the wheels turning about? When we came here, we were seeing rents. Okay, this is gonna literally blow some people's minds, but we were seeing rents from like $450 to $650 for a 2-bedroom, and we're living. You hear the birds, like, we're living in literal abundance. Like, this is a reflection of abundance, this natural environment. So for me, again, as I'm thinking about, okay, what's a good short goal of having the level of sovereignty that I desire? Sovereignty for me just means like I'm not actually having to place energy, or nothing is actually taking energy from me that I'm not in agreement with or not in accordance with, right? So I get to determine what that is, right? So define sovereignty for yourself. But for me, it's like, I want to know where my energy is flowing. And if my energy is escaping me, or if there's something happening over there, I'm going to like rein that in so that that energy is not a distraction, or, not something that feels like it's out of control. I'm going to bring that and have it in my space so that I am cognizant and aware of where my energy is going. While I'm here, it's like, if I'm staying in a space and it's $500 a month, right? And I know that maybe that 500 is a couple of steps away. And again, I'm being really real. Sometimes, like, for some people, it's like, money, I need to figure it out right now, right? So we can make it about like spirituality and all that stuff too, and energy and blah, blah, blah. But for some people, like, they might be actually asking themselves the question, like, how do I make, like, what are the next steps that I need to do, like, today, in order to move into a space of being sovereign and being cared for and having my basic needs met. Sometimes it is about those basic needs, and having those basic needs met. Guess what? You're going to have that energy, because your energy is not escaping you because of your thoughts about a thing. And I'm familiar with that, because being an entrepreneur and an investor and doing different things that actually require energy exchange of sometimes small amounts, sometimes large amounts of money. I'm aware that, man, like, when those things are lingering right on the mind, and there's this flow or lack thereof, it actually affects our well-being. It affects our thoughts. It affects our energy. And something like this, because it's not about trading time value, because it's not about like, man, I have to invest like a ton of money in order to see a return, because it is simple. And for some people, you know, like, I don't know how, like Netflix, I would say Netflix, and if you're paying for like premium Spotify, I think it's probably like $20. And I personally, like, I love Spotify, so I'm going to keep paying for that. But like Netflix, I don't watch Netflix because I know that if I give my time and energy to that, Netflix is not paying me. Netflix is barely showing me content that's like filling my cup. And if they are showing me content that's filling my cup, it kind of leaves me on a roller coaster of like, oh shit, the planet's, like going through it. And then I have to like really build that energy back up. Or if it's left me in an inspired state, then I can keep going. But we have to be mindful of like, what are we paying attention to? Where are we putting our resources in? And then what are we getting back from that? The first thing that you said something so powerful. The first thing I thought about was like, okay, already in this platform, there's people that I don't know. I even saw a couple of people that I do know, like Amy. I think I know Amy Dolly,
mm-hmm.
and Jessica. I know Jessica, right? So the first thing that came to mind is like, I want to build with them, right? I want to like join forces. I want to co-create. I want to do a workshop with them because I'm familiar with their work, or I've read the book, or whatever it is, right? So then imagine, right? Because sometimes it is about having the resonance. Again, we talked about that. But then what happens when we're resonating with people that are also like flowing and they're in abundant and they're in it, right? It just
we lost we lost him. He'll be back. Too much good vibes there in the jungle in Costa Rica. Daniel's in Costa Rica right now. Hello, Julie. Just saw you tune in. This has been fun. We've been flowing here, and I'm excited for all of you guys. Like, I'm very easy to get a hold of. So if you're watching this live right now, I know this is streaming on Facebook. If you're watching this live, you can definitely shoot me a message. I'll answer questions. I'll help you. This is always fun for me to see the light bulb go on for someone when they realize how valuable this can be for them and for others. Once you realize that, then the actual financial part, like the abundance part, that's the easy part. It's just about seeing it being valuable initially. Yes. So for those of you guys that are on here live with me on Zoom, if you guys have any questions, Julie, I'm excited to talk to you and to officially meet you. I was doing a workshop or a live video on Facebook the other day, and we still don't know how we know each other or if we've ever met, but Julie's out there in Scotland. That's what excites me so much about. I see you unmuting yourself. You're going to talk to me. I see you. Hello there. I was hoping you showed me some Scotland footage. This is Scotland behind you. This is the first time I've seen it.
Oh, that's just my garden, but I live in a construction site just now, so it's not really Scotland. But where I stay is quite nice.
Well, your
nice
beautiful accent is very Scotland. So. And
nobody will be able to understand anything. Like when I lived in America, no one could understand anything ever.
I felt so silly when I said you were going to be my translator when I come to do events in Scotland. You said Scottish is English. I was like, oh crap! Like, see,
yeah,
same
language. Same language.
Good old California education. I'm just kidding, California. Yes, so I see Daniel tune back in. Don't worry, Daniel. We picked up Daniel. This is Julie from Scotland. She just joined Universal.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, doing well.
Julie just joined Universal Abundance a couple days ago. Literally 2-3 days ago. We connected I was doing a live stream, and I was just running my mouth here in Miami, just enjoying life. And Julie kept interacting with me on the live stream, and so. I'm excited to do events in Scotland. And when I was talking about, with you guys out there listening, those that when I was going over the money, Julie, you've heard this already, but kind of, but you weren't on here for that. I was going over some of the money stuff. the live events, like as people show up in different parts of the world and they're realizing how valuable this is and it starts to spread, it just makes logical sense to go there and enjoy life with you guys. Because just come to your backyard and to be able to, for a lot of us that haven't seen that place, and for us to be able to take maybe 10 people in an area and turn it into a few hundred, like it happens very quickly when you can do things in person. So,
Yeah.
Dan, do you want to keep you were sharing stuff, and then you got.
I was in such a deep thought, I don't even remember where I left off. Let me see.
What you said is something I'm really excited for, and you're the first one. You're the first one that on one of these videos has actually voiced it. But you talked about collaborating with some of the other creators in there.
Whoa,
Because because the last thing I want people to think is that, like, even though I'm in a lot of workshops with people because I enjoy them and I enjoy flowing, like, I'm not the control freak at any. Like, I don't need to be involved in anything. Like, if I'm on, I'm gonna chime in because you guys say things that are inspired, and I'm gonna share. But I would love to see a workshop with you and Amy and you and Jessica. I've done multiple, stuff with all of them. So that's what you were saying.
Yeah, and really, I was diving into is like, right? Like, I can say that, I have people that might want to hear from Jessica, right here, because I'm not dialed into her frequency and her specific life experience. So that right there is already a bridge. And same for her friends or her, anyone that's connected to her on social media, because she doesn't have my life experience. We have this beautiful way to build and exchange with each other. And again, this is if we make it about energy, that's great. But like, what if there's somebody on, like, one person? I don't care. Like, what if it's one person that's like, yo, I've been thinking of the main character, thing for a minute. I want to dive in with this guy, right? Just that, like, imagine what that does to your state of emotion, your feeling. You're gonna feel like, wow, like I succeeded because I did this call and that was great. But like, somebody actually commented, just like you're saying with Julie. Like, that's a win. It's these small sort of chance encounters that really lead to the unexpected, right? And so. Part of this is like, there's the mind that starts expecting things and this is how it's going to work. But success often comes in a way that we don't expect it, but we do set ourselves up to create a narrow enough path for it to, like, for the success to show up, right? If we don't have that container, if that container has a hole in it where it's like, I don't feel successful, I don't think I'm good enough, right? And then whatever tries to come into your space, like, goes right out. Right, so it's about holding the space for yourself for those small drops, those small, like, ideas, those small, and it's not to devalue. Small is not to devalue, but small just means like incremental, right? This isn't about like getting rich quick or making money fast or anything like that, but it is about like finding a way to share what is of value and what is important to you, and in my mind, finding other people to do that with. Especially at a time like this where maybe the best form of exchange is the digital way, which, I don't feel like that's going to last forever. But while I'm doing that, I want to make use of my time and maybe talk to people that I wouldn't have talked to before. And I already feel like magic, and, I already feel like successful in just doing that. It's just like, feeling successful just having this conversation with you, or feeling successful just with the idea of like, wow, I want to reach out to Jessica because actually we all met at the same time, and the resonance was there, but we haven't had a chance to collaborate and to build together. So, I'm overall excited about this specifically, but that idea popped in about like, oh man, I know people that are already in it, and that might be a good way for me to build the if I'm a person that feels uncomfortable with like, oh, how do I do the content thing? What if somebody's already there in their space and you're an expert, like if I could put April out, I'm just gonna, because I just adore her. She's like an incredible mover. Like, she's an incredible dancer. Just like, wow, right? So what's going through a person's mind in their energy field when they're able to move with such fluidity and they're listening to the energy and the impulses in this other person, she's going to have something specific to share that no one else is going to be able to dial into except maybe her, right? So there's value there. And if she's having a conversation with someone else, it could really open up some doors in someone's own psyche or just in the personal daily, like, wow, I've never looked at dance in that way. Like, dance is really that and not this. And I could build awareness and health and, well-being and mindfulness by moving my body. Definitely going to do that. And I'm projecting into April. She's probably like, that's not what, that might be what it's exactly what it's about. But, it's just like, all those things have value, but we have to learn to trust in our life experience as being, again, the source of our well-being. We've made it this far for a reason. And I would say if there's a time where we were ever meant to share of ourselves, it'd be now. Gemma, Lear, they're like waving at me like, hey, it's time. So I'm good. We'll have to do a version 2, brother, to dive into main character modalities.
Ongoing conversation.
It's ongoing,
and what April doesn't know is that there's getting ready to be a section in there specifically for the arts, because there's people that their passion is to dance and passion to sing and passion to paint and passion to do all of these things. And not only is the actual showing of that awesome, like entertaining and uplifting, which the only requirement to share content is, does it uplift even one person? Then please, like, it makes the whole collective more valuable. But also would love to know the insights of, what you're feeling when you're dancing and why you're passionate about it. Just anything that you're willing to share is inspiring to someone that is searching for dance or singing or whatever, to where now they get to actually go inside and like know what's going on. Like that's a different form of sharing. So that's evolving as well on the site. It's
holler at me, April. I got the link for you.
And Amy, by the way, Dolly, like, she may be watching this. She tunes in some of my lives.
Yeah.
She's just shared content at this point and done workshops with me multiple, but she's not monetizing it yet. So there's lots of people that have shared stuff with me and that personally aren't monetizing it yet. But again, everybody's invited. So if someone just wants to consume content, awesome. If you want to share content, awesome. You don't have to monetize it, but you can also bring in abundance if that's something that sounds like fun.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
So, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. This has been fun.
Appreciate you as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. For those that are catching it live right now, are going to catch a recording. Obviously, this is going to go out, and our goal is just to build energy and to create a resonant field where and something that's like steeped in like well-being, abundance. That's easy, Maybe not. I won't say easy because sometimes it's not easy for people, but it's at least simple. It's like maybe 1, 2, or 3 steps away. So I'm excited, brother. Thank you so much for taking the time and building with me again. And we'll keep it going.
Absolutely.
I've got some ideas for the platform too.
Let's do it.
If you're open to some ideas and
completely open. It's a co-creation.
The co-creation. Yeah. I'm like let's. I just, that's where I go like, how can we bridge into that world where people are like dialing in, well, how can this be not the next Netflix, but we'll talk about it offline.
For sure.
But yeah.
I appreciate you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you as well. Okay. All right. Later, everybody. Hold this.
See you. All right. I'm going to stop the stream. You guys in Facebook world. See you guys. Julie, I want to talk to you more. I'm going to stop the stream, though, so I can talk to you. April, I haven't got to meet you officially, but I appreciate you. I'm excited to thank you for co-creating with us this energy and that you're sharing.